Guys, our friend Zachus here has paid for an hour of coaching, and I'm assuming that he has some replays ready for me for us to go through, and we're going to give him some direction and ideas for how to get out of Diamond League. Try not to wake him. I know, dude. I'm going to do my best to try and not, like, make him worse, okay? So we're going to start up the voice call, and we're going to see what this man thinks and what he's got to say. In before TOS happens, we get banned. Ooh, what's up, man?
Yo.
Oof, gotta turn you down a little bit. How are you, dude?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing good? Okay. Are you ready? Do you have replays to show me?
I am ready. I do have replays. I came a little prepared.
Okay, sweet.
Ready to go.
Gotta turn you down just a little bit more. Are you using, like, a laptop microphone?
I am.
I am. I nailed it. All right, on NA, join the channel Hupsaiya, and you can invite me to a party.
All right.
How's the sign? Is it all right, guys? I feel like it's much better now. Okay. All right.
All right. Okay. So I have 3 replays. You said 3, so I have 1 for each matchup.
Okay,
cool. I don't know what you want to look at first.
What do you want to start on first?
So let's do PVZ is consistently my worst.
Okay.
Even though it's my favorite. We'll watch that one.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go.
All right. Let me scroll down to it. Here it is. All right.
Make me the host of the lobby.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Creep bread. Uh-oh, I can tell this guy got plans for you. It's fine. Okay, cool. All right, so can you give me a little bit of a rundown on what your strat is in PvZ? Do you have, like, a style that you try to play, or do you switch it up?
Well, I typically go for a double Stargate Phoenix build. I have since, like, the last time I was actually in your stream. I came into it after getting coached by Vibe, disappointed, and I actually switched from like a Glaive of Death Phoenix and a double Stargate Phoenix.
Okay.
Because that's what you told me to do.
Well, I'm gonna let you know right now, Phoenix's build, like just Phoenix builds in general, are pretty weak right now because it's really popular for people to do the Queen Roach all-ins.
That's true. That's true. It's weird. I haven't had people do that to me, which is made me nervous. But like, if they do one by themselves, it's weak for some reason. I don't know. I feel fine if they do only one. Maybe because diamond scrubs. I don't know.
Yeah, that can be a thing. Why are you not hatch blocking?
Should I definitely be hatch blocking?
I think that there's absolutely no reason to not hatch block Zerg players. I don't think that it puts you at any kind of deficit. They got positives to it.
Okay.
So how you would do it, right, is here, I'm gonna go back. Because people try to get away from, like, the hatch block meta by doing, like, 15 hatch or, like, hatchery before second overlord. So what you're gonna do here is, like, if you're watching your mineral line right now, this third probe, oh my gosh, this third probe, when your third probe returns minerals, that probe's gonna go across the map immediately, and you're gonna rally your first probe that's gonna finish to the natural. So you're gonna do your worker split. You're gonna rally the first probe down to the natural, and, like, one of the first 3 probes, you're gonna grab one of those guys and send him straight to their natural, and you're just gonna patrol it into square where their hatchery would go.
All right, I like it. Okay, just be annoying as possible. Scumbag toss.
Well, it's not. Yeah, yes, but it's just it really for any Zerg player that doesn't practice. Like, if you watched GSL last night, Dark versus Parting, Dark did not try to take his natural hatchery a single time. He just went straight to the third base, and Parting didn't have to pylon block or probe block the natural at all. He didn't have to block it at all because Dark just went and took his third base every single time. if you play Zerg players where their plan isn't to play like Dark, then they're going to be uncomfortable when you do this.
I see. Yeah, because most people I talk to, if they play Zerg, they're like, well, if Protoss tries to hatch block me, I'm gonna proxy hatch them or something. It's usually what their response is.
Okay, so you rallied the 20th probe down to the natural. Good, good. Our Nexus starts perfect. Cybernetics core, nicely done. We came in here, we scouted. So you don't have to do this stuff where you block their minerals, but I would say you put your probe out, like once you go in and you check what they're doing, see that it's not like a pool first or whatever, you can just leave your probe right here on patrol, and then you can you can do your best to pay attention to the mini map and see when a drone walks past your probe.
Oh, it's a little easier than rallying to the positions.
It's a little, yeah, because if you go to like one base or the other base, he can always just like accidentally go take the other one. So we're gonna get our adept. We're gonna get our Stargate. Okay, so your opener looks clean. Your opener looks clean. So I don't have any critique there. Another thing about like the hatch block, right, is that when you hatch block them, it becomes incredibly powerful to chrono boost both of your first adepts. And you can send both of your first adepts across the map. And it's like, if you look at the speed, if you look at the Zergling speed timing, this guy has like a very normal Zergling speed timing. It's going to finish at around 3 minutes and 20, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And you can almost always have both of those adepts over on his side of the map before Zergling speed starts.
Okay, and just use like damage to drones and things.
Well, you can force them to make Zerglings. You can deny these first creep tumors, stuff like that. That's like little stuff that'll really mess them up. We're going Oracle first. What do we get done with this? What's our goal with the Oracle?
I
right?
don't get any done because
that's actually fine. You should expect to get nothing done with the Oracle. Expect to get nothing. Like, just coming in here and scouting, you're like,
I
okay,
guess this game I could.
He doesn't have a lair, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have tech. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. So if you had made your Twilight Council, because you said you like to do, or you had been doing the...
used to do.
Yeah, if you used to do it, that build would be really strong versus the player, right? Because it's 4 minutes and his Roach Warren isn't started. Is he going to try and skip straight to Hydralisks? Which is really strong versus what you're doing, which is Phoenix.
Like every Zerg player.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah.
So I know the Phoenix style is fun, but I don't think that the meta of how people think about how to play the game is favoring it right now.
Yeah, it's true. It definitely switched since the Void Ray buff kind of changed.
Yeah, our third base reasonably on time. I'm gonna tell you that this third base is actually like 30 seconds late for what you're trying to do, and
ooh, okay.
You have the double gas on the natural too soon. Like, you don't have your second Stargate started. You don't need all that gas, right? Like, you're floating 400 gas right now. You can, like, so I'm going to just detail to you why the Void Ray as your first unit is, like, way stronger, right? If we go back to, like, when your Oracle finished, if you just imagine that this was a Void Ray right now, you kill this Overlord, your Void Ray and your 2 Adepts go over here, and you start your third base. Like, instead of these gas geysers, you start your third base at like 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And there's like nothing that the Zerg player can do. There's nothing they can do about it. And then you can still play double Stargate and play mass Phoenixes or mass Void. But you make these,
just a little more
you can make these gas geysers after the third base. You don't need the gas unless you're going to make the second Stargate before your second Stargate unit. Like, if you made your second Stargate before the second Stargate unit, then you would make your double gas geysers before your third base.
Okay. Yeah, my only concern, I'm not doubting. So what if they send, like, Lings instead, like, early? And then, like,
okay, so I'll show you, like...
Usually saves me.
When you make the third base, right? You're going to make the third base, and then you're going to make a pylon, like, between the gas geyser and the Nexus here, and it's going to create that little space. Like, you make the wall off here for your Adepts, right? But imagine if the pylon was just on the right side of the Nexus instead of out here. and then your adepts are really safe over there, and it's a lot harder for the Zerg player to kill the pylons with Zerglings. You can also make it on the bottom side. Just make the pylon touching the gas geyser, and it's safer, and it lets you complete a wall off easier later.
Okay.
And then the Void Ray, even though it doesn't seem like it's great at killing Zerglings, the thing is if they make enough Zerglings to deny this third base, and you have like your Void Ray and your Adept out here, they're spending so much money that it's okay. It's okay for you to just cancel it, and you can like throw down the second Stargate. And you can be like very certain that their lair is going to be late, and their Roach Warren is going to be late, and they're going to have less queens. So the Stargate will be even more powerful.
Yeah.
And then if you're really worried about it, you can just make the Oracle first. And then the Zergling denials of your third base are always going to be not happening. Because you made the Phoenixes, but like, you've killed one Overlord this game. So it's like, they didn't get you any value, if that makes any sense. Like, you have 4 Phoenixes right now. As soon as you have 3 or 4 Phoenixes finished, you should be going across the map to either like kill the Overlords in these positions, right? Or to just like see what he's doing, you know? Like you should be like killing these 3 Overlords that are spread around his base. But in a good Zerg player, he would just notice that you made a Stargate and those Overlords wouldn't even be placed there. So you would just be coming to like these gas geysers positions, and you're killing like 1 or 2 drones at a time and then moving away. Because the Spore Crawler can't be perfectly positioned. Okay, so now we're getting some stuff done with the...
Yeah.
We get a Queen. This is like... Queens are actually the most important thing for you to kill when you play Phoenix. This. Because the thing that you really want to stop is like
I got that out eventually.
Yeah. It slows down their injecting.
And then they have to rebuild their queens, and
they have to rebuild everything. Okay, so our pro production, your pro production is great, dude. You did a great job, all right? It's like before 7 minutes and you're full 3 base saturation, but I feel like we're reaching too far with our tech right now.
Yeah, I can tell you what I'm trying to do is it's the Hupsaiya double Stargate Phoenix. It's a double robo, and it kind of takes everything at once, and it's kind of crazy.
I do this expensive as well. It is good, especially because you did really well with your probe production. So your macro and your economy is really strong, so you can't afford all of this stuff. But like, he should be at like 4 bases and have like 80 drones, because your Phoenixes just didn't do anything anyways, like early enough in the game. Done with them.
I see it.
The other thing about the Void Ray style is like, it can do just as much as the Phoenixes can, but more, because you can actually kill a Spore Crawler with like 2.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna tell you, oh, you need to switch, but there are very clear strengths of the Void Ray build that like the Phoenixes have, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Getting our 4th base. This is nice. Do we have our Templar archives? We do. All right. So our I'm gonna tell you that like the Queen Ravager all-in happens like 30 seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need to be worried about that, and you should be like able to scout for it with your first Stargate units. So what was your problem this game? What was your problem this
game? I know I took my I canceled that 4th. That happened. I forgot that happened. But I took my 4th late. I didn't get enough damage early enough done with the Phoenixes. I know that. You mentioned I took the 3rd late. Took the gases early. I know I took Storm heckin' later than I usually did.
Yeah.
And I know my Phoenix timing was late, even compared to my other games. Usually I'm in the main before 6 minutes, and I was like 20 seconds late or something.
Is this how you normally do it with just 1 Stargate? For the Phoenixes? Because your second Stargate was like quite late. Like if we go back.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to follow like the beginner Hupsaiya build, which is that's like around when he takes it.
Okay, that's
But if I look at the Zets build, I know he goes Phoenix first, and he does like some things different. I do know that for a fact.
I think that Husheng is a great player, and he does have really solid builds, so it's probably a good idea how he says it. But if you're like looking to do more with the Phoenixes, the second
I
Stargate
do.
should start before your third Stargate. Especially if you're gonna take these
Okay.
gases as early as you did, right? Because like look at how much gas you have. No possible way to all this gas unless you add a second Stargate like 30 seconds.
It's true. Like I need to start it faster because I know that I can feel I've taken it late because then when I start my Phoenix's consistent production, it's they're usually staggered unless I force myself to stop, and then I know I'm late.
Yeah. Your macro is really good though. I am gonna compliment you on the pro production. The pro production is really good. You're
I've learned one thing.
banking lots of chrono boost. Like you have 2 chrono boosts on the main
Oh
and the
goodness,
natural.
yeah,
So that
it's
can help
true.
you with the Phoenix timing a lot. Like as soon as you get the Stargate, if you're gonna consistently produce out of it, you should chrono boost it the entire time. Don't like let it be detrimental where it takes your attention away from other things, but always like
Uh-huh.
have it in the back of your mind that like when you start a Stargate unit, you can have the attention to just like go over there and click the Stargate one time with a chrono.
Yeah,
Not like a
there's
big drain.
there's definitely most games I only chrono boost the Stargates right here, like just twice, and I never really do it 4 times like I definitely could with the chronos backed up.
Yeah, okay, so I know that you're following Husheng's build. Let me look at it. It's on spawning tool, right?
It is on spawning tool. It's right there. It's
Orders, TVs, where's that?
I mean he's got a
Double
build on the
Stargate.
main page.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
So he does make the double assimilator really early. He starts his second Stargate at 3:59. When did you start yours?
It's a great question.
Uh, like 3:40. It's like right now, right? Like you've got all the resources to start the second Stargate. So it was late, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah. So that's like something that'll help you immensely. That second Stargate time, because now we've missed the
Okay.
timing of the second Stargate by like 30 seconds, and it makes like way bigger of a difference than it does, because
Okay.
it means that you reach like 5 Phoenixes that much faster. And 5 Phoenixes is the amount of Phoenixes where you lift a queen and you can kill the queen drops, right? So like you want to reach that point of that amount of Phoenix as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So definitely make
Stargate's
a
really
little bit
late.
note about that. But you don't have to be sorry about it. It's like you've got a lot to do when you play this style, and you've got a
Yeah,
lot to
goodness,
think
yeah.
about. And don't like beat yourself up about it. But that's why you didn't get a lot done with your second Stargate. Was late.
It's true. Whenever my timings are late, it's definitely a difference.
And like that's something. Okay, so if you look at his build order, right, it's like you start the Oracle and you chrono boost, and then you make your third you make your third and fourth gas geyser, and then you make your second Stargate unit. Just always attach the action of building the second Stargate to building your second Stargate unit. You're like, okay,
I
second
see.
Stargate
Yeah.
unit, second Stargate, and then that'll help you a lot. That's like a learning technique called scaffolding and chunking.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard or read about those, but if you haven't, you maybe
I have. He actually talks about it. Yeah. He
yeah,
does.
it's really
One of his third
important,
videos.
and it makes doing build orders way easier. You don't want to remember, okay, 14 pylon, 15 gateway, 16
Yeah,
assimilator,
numbers.
19 nexus. You just want to go pylon, gate, assimilator, nexus, and all of that stuff should be like one thing. And then
Yeah.
you go, okay, Day 9 has a video about it as well. He made a really great
Okay.
video about it as well. You don't need to go watch the video to know how to do that. You just gotta like think about it
Yeah,
how
that's how
you
I take
would
my
think about it.
notes. Yeah, I
So
take my notes in like little builder cycles and stuff.
that's good. That's good. Of which lower the volume a tad. My mic is kind of loud. What are you talking about, White Shadow? Okay, so yeah, imagine just like if your Phoenixes has been earlier this game, right? Like a minute earlier is probably about how much faster you would have been on the map and being aggressive with the Phoenixes.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
don't
like
worry about your
Zest,
your
so
fourth
fast.
base being super late. This is actually like a really early fourth base for this matchup because of how popular the Queen Ravager all-ins are, and it's like
Yeah.
you don't really know if that Queen Ravager is on the way at this point. He's got like a macro hatch in his natural, so that's kind of like a good indication that he's probably not all in you. But you can't ever really be certain because he does have roach speed, but he's got 0 roaches, so it's like it's
Yeah.
tough to be certain, especially because you weren't active with the Oracle. The Oracle
That's
should
true.
like it should be like parked in this area back here, and then you can like stasis ward this base, and you can envision the main base.
Okay, so yeah,
Like after your third base is like established, right?
it's
Like what once
established.
you have this
Right.
little pylon wall and your adepts are in there, your Oracle really doesn't need to be here. You can go and be. You don't have to be super active with it, but like just being able to see like what he's building is helpful. You could even
Yeah.
like
Okay.
leave it in the middle of the map here or over here, just to see like if units are coming from that way. Because you can't leave like ground
Yeah.
units around like he can, but with your Stargate units you can do like leave Stargate
I think
units in pathways.
I do that with the observers. That's when I'm
Yeah,
leaving the units, but I tried once upon a time to like be fancy in the Oracle, like revelate the army and stuff, and I just am like my APM is Protoss level, so no.
that's fine. I'm gonna make another note about the build order. Right, you have like 2,000 minerals floating right now, and you're just now making your extra
Yeah.
gateways. Finally, you need like as soon as you have the mineral saturation on your third base, we're gonna go back to like 6 minutes. Minutes and 7 minutes. This is like the timing for your all of your extra gates. Like don't even think about it too hard. Like oh, I need to like stagger my gateways. Just be like oh man, I'm gonna make 4 gateways here as a wall off, and then I'm gonna make 2 more in my main, and I have 8 gateways, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
Okay, so I do go to 8 because I just at this point in the game I actually don't know solidly what to do. I just kind of play, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Well, you've got the double robo, so you're going to be spending a lot of your money on the immortals, right? So as soon as your robos
Yeah,
finish, if we
chronoing those out.
imagine that your immortals started, you really don't have a lot of money. But
No.
I don't think it's important to take the gas geysers on the third base before your gateways. Because if you take the gas geysers on the third base before your gateways, then basically every all-in that Zerg does is going to kill you. Because you just like you just
That okay.
you don't have gateway units. You have none. No gateway.
It's
2
true.
gates,
I've been
and
yeah,
you have no ability to get.
super greedy.
Definitely could have your Twilight
Yeah.
upgrades going, but
Yeah, I get to charge weapons real
like I said,
soon
the
here.
second Stargate being late causes like a cascade effect, right? The second Stargate late,
It's
so
true.
you're being aggressive with the Phoenixes later, which means that when you should be doing all of this stuff, you're controlling your Phoenix.
I
So
see.
if you had control,
Okay.
if your Phoenix aggression had been like a minute or 2 earlier, you wouldn't have things to do with them right now because all of his defenses would be in place, and you would be like, okay, it's time to not be controlled.
Okay.
So let's see
Yeah, I
how this
definitely feel
game
like
ends, right?
it's late. Yeah, wait, quick question though. Can I make this is not work? Can I make my robos on my third, or is that like a big no?
But it is more risky. I always make them in my.
Okay, because I just this unit in the wall. I
It's
don't know. I'm
very
lazy
annoying to
Protoss.
deal with.
I hate
I
it
get it.
so
I get it.
much. I
I
hate it
get
a
it.
lot.
It is annoying, but you should just deal with it. I mean, you can make your
Okay,
robos at your
I'll just
third
deal with it.
base. You can just I'm going to tell you, you can just make your robos at your third base, but you're going to have games where you're like, "Oh no. if I
Or
had
like
my robos in my
Frag.
natural, I wouldn't lose the game, right? Because what happens is it necessitates that you defend the third base if your robos are. If your robos aren't
Yeah.
there, you can kind of like you can be like, all right, well he's super all in. I don't need my third base right now, but I need my robos.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Need
that
my
like
robos, yeah.
but
Because I saw Harson do this build, and he lost his third. So
because he always commits to defending the I think that a lot of the
yeah,
time what happens is people commit too hard to defending the third. Especially if like you feel like you can't just immediately defend it. Like, why try to defend it if you why
just
make the
sack it. Yeah,
entire game hinge upon that?
I see.
So this guy, like, okay, so right now you could have some sentries. You have 2 sentries. I think you should have
I
like
do.
3. You should have like 3
Three,
sentries.
okay.
Because it gives you the potential to move out with like your 2 to 4 immortals, and you can come out here to like this
Ooh.
location or this location, or you can come over to this location, and then force fields are really powerful in these little areas, and that will help you a lot.
Okay, so early pushers, I've experimented with that before, but like
Just
then my
don't be
force field
committed.
micro is so weak. Yeah,
Just
just
don't be
poke.
committed.
Don't push on creep.
You
Can I
just
bring
want to
my
like
phoenixes with that push or?
yeah, you can bring your phoenixes, but like if you say your micro's weak, then you don't want to be controlling 2 spellcasters. You can just like tell your
Okay,
phoenixes
well,
to follow your unit.
it's mostly because like I feel like I don't have storm, and I'm like force fields. Like I can
Yeah,
defend with force fields, but then
you
at that
you
point
don't want to
it's
be
rough.
too crazy about it. You just want to like try and get rid of some.
I
And I
see,
mean, you
just
have
some
so
creep
many
clearing.
immortals now. Your army is really strong, but it's like I don't know. You're doing great. You're doing great right now. This is like totally fine. Everything this game has been on track. Like your pro macro production like is so good that if you solidified like the little build order mistakes, you would be doing much better.
I see, yeah.
Because like I said, like if we look at the units lost tab, he's lost like 10 workers. That's not he's lost like 2
Yeah,
or
I could
3
definitely be more
overlords. That's
active.
really not very much. And I'm going to tell you that this base sucks on this map.
Oh gosh,
I
yeah,
hate this base. You either want to take this one or you want to take this one. I think
Okay.
I've been experimenting with where like as soon as I'm ready with my third base and I have like good saturation here, I clear these minerals out and I take that rich Vespian geyser as my third base.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay.
good move. You move out here before he's ready to engage. This is actually like great because this is the only way that you can defend this base.
It's true. I've been having issues against like Zerg with going like lurkers or something, and I just am not.
Yeah, if
I'm
he
getting
had like
sieged up.
if he had like 6 or 7 lurk, I don't know if
I'd be
you
freaking dead.
can do much.
Same thing with liberators or tanks, man.
Um,
Bad
you should
experiences.
have carriers building right now. You should have your third Stargate. You
Oh
shouldn't be
geez, that's a
built
fast
like
transition.
once you have like 6 to 8 immortals, you don't want to build anymore because they lose
Okay.
value versus lurkers super badly. Like they
It's
they
true,
just
yeah.
do. Like if they have like too many lurkers, it doesn't matter how many immortals you have. It's just gonna splash damage on all of them, and you're gonna get owned.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
I would say watch the Stats versus Sterile games from the IEM that happened, where Stats won recently. Around now is when Stats has his carriers rolling and ready. You know, he has the army that you have, but he's got carriers coming.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I definitely used to transition into carriers this quickly,
Because
and
this
I
attack is
probably should
great.
again.
Attack is great.
Yeah.
It's good that you're putting this pressure on, and especially because you know that you beat his army up. But if you were in a situation where you didn't know if you had beaten his army up or not, maybe don't commit to
Mhm.
like this big area. Maybe like deny the 5th base. Do you even know about it? You don't even know about it. So
I don't know about it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
definitely a map vision error right there.
this is when the suggestion about your Phoenix position comes in handy, right? Like you have your 5
Okay.
Phoenixes. Like when you had 5, you could just have one here. You could have one here. You could have one here,
Like
and then you
rallying
know.
them a little bit.
You just
Okay.
know, you know. You don't have to ever control them ever again. It's okay if they die. If you put them there and they die, you can be like, okay, he's taking that base, right? And you just know. Helps you have like real knowledge.
Okay.
Do you own this guy? You own this guy.
Oh, I actually think I win this game. I just know that it was one of my worst games build order wise, and I definitely did not deserve to win this game.
Okay, well,
Oh yeah, this guy is a sad guy. Yeah, he's sad.
no chance, lol. Yeah, okay. Well, that always sucks when you play against people. But don't worry about it, right? If you feel uncomfortable with your build order, just go play versus the AI and go to about this point, like 7 minutes into the game, get here, and then go look at the build order on spawning tool, and you're like, what's late and what's good, right? And you just do it again, because I do that every day almost every day. I will play a build order 3 to 5 times versus the AI out to like 6 to 8, and I just do the same one.
Once, I guess.
Yeah, no, you need to build the real muscle memory about stuff. It's not about just like remembering. And then visualization tactics are really strong too, where you need to like just meditate on a build order. I know it sounds like stupid and ridiculous, but like if you just
okay. No, visualization's real. I did it in wrestling too.
Yeah, it works. It really works. It helps a lot. And do it like when you're falling asleep. It really helps if you do it when you're like falling asleep, because it bores you and it makes you want to fall asleep sooner, but also it puts your mind in the mode where you're thinking about this kind of thing when you
dream about it.
It's not like an intrusive.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go take a piss and then we can watch the next one. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So just to summarize for you, I think that the thing that you need to worry about the most is like that early game mistake of missing the second Stargate, because it makes you snowball effect where your attention is not on what it should be at certain stages of the game. Oh my gosh, Atomic Koopa, thanks for the sub, man. So your second Stargate was late, so your aggression, your planned aggression with the Phoenixes is late. So when you should be paying attention to like the Robo and the Twilight and the Forge, building your fourth base, those things get pushed to the back seat because you feel like you need to be aggressive with the Phoenix at a time when you shouldn't be late, right?
I should be doing build order and then doing another cycle of harass and then more build order.
Yeah. And practicing the build order versus the AI more than one time in a row, right? Like you notice a mistake.
I warm up with like one game just to see if I can max out on time, but probably more practice is going to be.
No, helpful. Don't max out. Don't max out. Just
don't max out, yeah.
To like 6 or 7 minutes. That's all you want to do. Because you reinforce bad habits when you go too far. You're not having to interact with your opponent, right? I say 6 or 7 minutes because Generally speaking, 6 to 7 minutes is when all of the two base or like fake third base all-ins will attack you.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, like brief question though, you probably face a lot of the Roach Raptor Queen all-ins like you mentioned, but
Yeah, that shit happens
I'm
all.
still facing BDGM, Roach Hydra Lurker max outs, and they usually hit at around like 8:30 or something. Like actually, I faced Husheng with this build like a couple weeks ago, and he just beat me with that. And how do I not how do I not die to that? Like,
Uh,
did I need more immortals? Like, frig.
well, on Romanticide there, just that fourth base that you took kind of makes you die to.
Yeah, it just sucks. Yeah.
So the way to deal with lurkers is like if you were playing TV and
Oh
your
yeah, I have great
opponent,
map vision in that
like
game. Yeah.
imagine you're like poking the Terran player as he moves across the map with your stalkers to reduce the amount of marine where he sees
Uh huh.
specific. You don't need to do exactly that, but you need to dictate where a fight starts when it starts, because
Yeah.
if you're fighting the lurkers, like, oh, he's set up on this position, I have to fight him now, you're gonna
That's
either lose
bad.
or you're gonna trade really poorly. And you need to think about things before that fight happens. Like, okay, well, I could have been in this spot so that he couldn't have this choke point, and it would have forced him to siege the lurkers here. I could have stormed his army, killed a bunch of zerglings while I did kiting micro. So that's what I would say you
Okay.
needed.
Yeah, because that's definitely one of my PVTs is my best matchup because my cheese defense and map vision's probably the best in this game. I don't know why. Like my other matchups doesn't. I don't really do that. I guess don't really do that.
It's because Terran doesn't have very good passive protection. They have the
Uh huh.
Raven, but it kind of just always travels with their main and not with harassment squads. So in PvP, you can pepper the map with observers, and you can be reasonably certain that they're not going to just get killed in like 30 to 45 seconds by whatever random units walk by them. But
Yeah.
in Protoss versus Protoss and Protoss versus Zerg, Zerg and Protoss generally always have mobile detection with their armies, and that makes having map vision not as strong because it just gets cleared up. In PvT, you can place pylons all over the place, and that works. And like those getting killed isn't a big deal. Have the observers everywhere, and like them a lot of the time because they've shift queued their harassment unit, not pain. They like fill up two medevacs and they shift queue it around the edge of the map and it flies
Yeah.
past your observer. And it's like they would notice the observer if they were looking at the medevacs, but generally it's like they shift queued it and they've gone to do
Uh-huh.
where like Zerg and Protoss, when they're gonna harass you, like if a Protoss player has all of his blink stalkers outside of your main base and he's gonna blink into your main base, like he just he's got his observer there so that he can have high ground visions, having map vision.
Okay. Yeah. 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 And then I've been like not warping in zealots, I guess, like throughout the game before the max out. Should I warp in zealots to fight that Roach Hydra max out and rush storm?
You should be counterattacking with Hydra lurker attack.
Okay.
Because if it's like 8 minutes, a Zerg player, it's like 8 to 9 minutes, and even versus the Queen Ravager all in attacks, counterattacking is really powerful. Right? They're gonna move out with everything, right? And if you just run into their third or their natural with like 4 to 8 zealots when they're in the middle of the map with all their queens, they just die. They like
Yeah.
all of their economy disappears as they're walking across the map, and they don't get to You can do the same thing to Terran base attacks because
Okay.
Terran players and Zerg players are very like one hotkey reliant.
It's
Where
true.
like
I have two with Terran. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard not to because of how the production works, right? Like with
It's
Zerg,
true.
they make units out of the eggs. They add the eggs to the hotkey. Terran, the units get rallied out of the barracks, so it's like, oh, units finished. F2, add to
Yeah.
control group, and it's like it's a weakness, but also a strength because it reduces the amount of actions they are required to do like unit macro. But it's like
Hmm.
something that you should be thinking about taking advantage of in all three steps.
Okay.
Okay, so come in here. Not on the low ground, right? So what do we do about
Typically, if I don't see that, I'm rushing an observer anyway to check, or an adept or something. Like this time, I accidentally go stalker first. I don't know why. Usually,
okay.
I go adept first, and
Um
I go robo first.
that's good. That's don't know if he's all in your robo
So
first.
and then I make the blind battery because I didn't see a low ground CC,
Yeah,
just in
this is
case.
like if that happens, right? If your probe scout gets denied like that, like it did there, what you can do is when you make this pylon on the low ground, that probe can go search one side of the map for proxies, right? You just like
Okay.
shift queue it on the
Yeah.
mini map, and then your adept comes out and you send it to the side of the map.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you can make the shield battery anyways blindly. Like you should just go search for proxy location. And I would say that it's always more important to check the area outside of your main, because like they could like make their factory and their barracks here, and they could be making Hellions, proxy a starport. That's like the
Yeah,
most
and
common
then
thing that happens.
they go Banshee or whatever.
They go Banshee, they go Medevac, whatever it is. You got to think about it, because you went to his base to find out what he was doing. You don't get to find out
Yeah.
of how like denial of scouting works for Terran.
Mm-hmm.
And an observer just gets across the map too late. Like he's already got everything that he can have at this point,
Yeah.
and you still haven't found out about it. And your robo was about as fast as it possibly could have been. Oh my
Okay.
god, is that a Reaper wall off? How dare you?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh
Please
my
ban me.
gosh. How dare you make a Reaper wall off?
I'm sorry, it's above my skill level.
Definitely so audacious, fucking silly as to do. We're going Blink and Colossus. Generally, this is like too far of a tech, like teching too far in two different directions. You just
Okay.
don't have any unit. Have like this push from him is really weak, but if this was like a siege tank instead of a cyclone, and he sieged this wall, it would be really strong. It would be really
It's
hard to
true because
deal
I
with.
don't have the map awareness for it.
Yeah, and your observer, it could. Okay, so what did you do with your first got to his base?
I think I just leave it there.
So okay, all right. So
I know he's out, I guess.
the thing that's important is looking at what his starport is, right? Because you
Yeah.
got here before the first starport you finished, which is not usually something that happens. His starport was really, but you should get here, and either they should be building an add-on or an add-on should be finished. Like if you get here with the observer and an add-on is finished, like if you did your robo timing and your observer built on time and was chrono boosted, you get here, right? And if an add-on is finished, they haven't made a starport unit yet. And if an add-on is building, you be pretty certain that like a liberator or a medevac is on the way to your base. And then you should have like a second observer out here. Or you should have like a pylon out here, something like that. And then you can be like very confident with your Docker. Okay, yes, like a unit is on the way to my base, and then you don't want to leave the observer here. You come in, you see what's on the starport, and then you move to like this location, like right outside of his main base. Then you would have been able to see his army. You gotta
Okay.
be careful because like you did like fly over his army if you were gonna do that, right? Because like watch here, right? You come in here, you could be like, oh, there's no add-on on the starport. He's building a starport unit. Technically speaking, a starport unit should be finished already, but he's late. So in your mind, you should be like, uh-oh, starport unit is finished already, and he's making a second one. This should be like a second starport unit. And you can try and stay and look at it, but I would not recommend even staying and looking at it. You should just like come over to this spot and
Okay,
you should
just
wait,
okay.
right? Because you'll be able to see exactly when he leaves his base, and if it's like that siege tank push where he comes over here, it's not about having map vision out in these areas. It's about seeing his army leave his base.
It's
Like
true, yeah.
you could tell right now, right? Because like his liberator is flying past your observer. You could be like, uh-oh, something's happening. Something's happening. You know.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you're teching in too far. You're teching too far, and you did the same thing like you did in the where you made these gas geysers before you made your third base. Generally, it's like
Yeah.
you make like one gas geyser before your third base, or you make your third base and then you make one gas geyser, and you're going to be like using blink stalkers to defend yourself, or you're going to have tech to Colossus immediately instead of the Twilight count. Because you're in
Okay.
like a in between stage right now where you have like a little bit of everything. Like you're getting your forge as well right now, and you're just split in too many directions. Is doing like a real push, you would be getting creamed right now because your blink
Okay.
is much later than it would be if you went Twilight first,
So Twilight first.
and you
Yeah.
don't have like an immortal. You build an immortal. Didn't make a warp prism. You still only have the 3 gateways right now when you could have like
Yeah.
and
Like
I
right
know
about
that
now is when I should be going to 6. Yeah.
that's like a weird number, right? At like this stage of the game, 6 gateways, but like when you play Robo first, you should go for a robotics bay as soon as your first observer starts. I think the robotics bay as soon as you like right after it. And then
Okay. So like the Hearthstone build. I see.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, cuz like going for Twilight after Robo significantly delays the upgrade to the point where like all forms of harassment and pushes that the Terran player are going to do are going to happen before you get the up.
Okay.
And then this is just like you being lazy. You didn't want to make a second hotkey for 2 of your stalkers to stop this liberator. So, like as
Yeah.
soon
I
as
was
you
just
knew
lazy.
about the
Yeah.
presence of the liberator, it's like just grab 2 of the stalkers. Like they just go and hang out here for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely right.
And then this is like your pro production, the PvZ game was so good, right? If we think about 6 minutes in the PvZ game, your pro production, you were like 60 workers. You're like 44 workers. So I think you're much less smooth. You have like much less of a like game plan of what you want to do, and you're worried about what he could do, but you've lost all map vision, right? Like your observer
That's true.
came
He killed
home,
it.
and it's just like you go Robo first, you should get like 3 or 4 observers before you make any other units out of the Robo.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So a build order change.
Yeah,
Because this builder right here is, I think it's like one of Hushang's like safe Protoss versus Terran builders, and it's definitely very versatile instead of picking one of the tech trees.
yeah. So okay, so if we look at his army right now, it doesn't seem very strong. But if he sieged up on this spot, you would have a really hard time dealing, even with
That's
the
true.
Colossus. Even with the Colossus. But if you think about like if you had gone Robotics Bay right after your first observer, you would have 2 Colossus right now,
I would, yeah, I
and
would.
you would have like 4 or 5 Zealots and 2 or 3 Sentries, and that this army would be easy to be fucking mosquito. Um. Just like if you want to go Twilight first. If you want to go Robo, go Colossus or do Disruptor Drop. Disruptor Drop is really fun, really strong, and you. Okay, so you do see this coming in, but this is like the worst. This is like the worst observer positioning ever, right? Like if your observer was over here, his Raven wouldn't be able to see it, but you would still see the
You're
army
right.
movement. Or
I
if
was
your
gonna see it
observer,
come up the ramp.
if it was like here and it was sieged up, you could see the army over here, and he wouldn't be able to see your observer. So that's what you need to think about when you place your observers. And like, I
Uh-huh.
love these pylons, but these are like definitively going to die if he walks through these
It's
areas.
true.
When
It's
you
true. I definitely
place
spawned to sec them.
pylons as map vision, think about putting them in spots where like a drop will fly over them. So like
Okay.
here or like here is where pylons should go, because then it's like much less likely that they just die to like one marine or like water. And
Okay.
like if both of those pylons died right now, you'd supply block and stuck. Oh, so he controlled this so.
It's true. This actually how most of the Terran games go though. It's just these weird pushes and it ends really quickly.
Okay, so you're playing Terran players that are doing the same thing you're doing, which they're playing like a really unrefined build order. So if you want to get away from these people, you need to make your build order really refined, right?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
like if your build order is refined and they're not, and they do their push 30 seconds to a minute late, you just crush them. Crush them, and they look like they have no idea what they're doing. Okay, this is scary. This is scary. I did like focus fire the medevac. Focus fire the medic. Wow. Your number one
I have no
priority
idea. That was weird.
in fights like this is definitely killing the medevacs. I know
Okay.
that like sometimes your attention is split into many, but like killing the medevacs right now, that was so strong, right? Because he has 2 medevacs and he has no bio unit, and you should just win the game right now. You just win.
Oh, I
Okay.
do just win the game. Yeah.
So yeah, like, if you're gonna go robo first, you should get like 3 or 4 observers before you build anything outside of the robo, unless you're doing a disruptor drop. If you're doing a disruptor drop, you make 2 observers, and then you make the warp prism and make the and then
Okay.
you make another observer or start making. But
Okay.
yeah, just like the first little detail with your observer, and then always go for an adept first, even if they're 100% certain. If you're 100% certain that they're one base all in you, then go for an adept first, because it will help versus everything. Even like a marauder all in, an adept first helps more than a stalker does, because an adept
Because
takes
it's not weak.
twice as many shots for a marauder to kill than a stalker, you know, because they do
Okay.
half as much, or they do half as much damage to non-armored units. And then it just gives you the strength to be able to like walk across the map. Because like here, let's like imagine that your first gateway unit here was an adept, right? And this adept
Yeah, they were
finishes,
supposed to be.
and you
It's true.
shade it across it at like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Like be at his side of the map right now. You just like shade from this position into the natural. You can be like, he doesn't have an add-on in his barracks. That means he's really not going to have very Marines. And that means that he's probably doing something weird with his factory and his starport. In this guy's case,
Yeah.
his build order is just bad. But that's
true,
like
it's
that's
terrible.
whatever, you know. Like so like see his starport can start like right now. When does he start his starport? 10 seconds late. So that's a big potato move. But like your adept could stay here indefinitely. He's sitting on this ramp waiting for you to be lazy about controlling your adept. So like a big boy move that you can make is that you never use the most common path into their base with your first adept. You always
see.
go for like a secondary path into their base, and then this will
Okay.
just never catch you. Okay.
Like in PvP.
Yeah,
Alright.
exactly. Like in PvP, because he's like praying that you're not paying attention to your first adept. And if you see
Yeah.
this, or if you're doing the parting build, 6 adepts shade on top of his army right. Like you have 6
yes.
adepts on top of his army right now, or 10 seconds ago. Actually, do the parting build perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's like something to think. And then just yeah, this is fine actually. Like Robo First is fine because you scouted and you didn't know if he was all in you or not because his got built up and he denied your vision. The Robo is fine, but you could just have produced observers this whole time and been totally fine. And then, like I said,
Okay.
these gas geysers are way too early. You don't need this third and fourth gas
always float
geyser.
gas.
Yeah. So think about it like this. With basically any and every build that you do, your third and fourth gas geysers, your gas geysers on the natural, should not happen until after your third base. It really doesn't matter what build you're doing unless it's like a 2 base all in. When you play double Stargate in PvZ, you make your gas geysers before your third base sometimes. Best doesn't do that. He makes his third and fourth gas geyser after the third base. He makes 1 Void Ray and he goes and takes his third base at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and then he makes the double gas, and then he makes the second start.
Okay.
That's how he plays the double Stargate sometimes. But like you almost never make these gas geysers for the third because you float gas and then you have way less minerals, and because these are going to finish, right? If you pulled 6 workers off of your mineral saturation right now, your mineral income would be like pitiful, right? Because like then you'd be on equal mineral income towards the Terran player if he only had SCVs. But if you pull these workers now to fill these gas geysers, you're gonna have less mineral income than he,
Yeah,
and that's gonna hurt you a
it's
lot. So like, see, you even went and took this third base before filling the gas geysers, so there was no point in making. And
Yeah, that's where I
you're
think I'm just following an unrefined build. Like, it's a
you're
great build probably for lower leagues.
no. I mean, I think this build is actually like perfectly fine for all the way up to like mid GM probably.
Okay.
As long as you're like really confident with like your map vision control. But like,
Uh-huh.
hold on, let me look and see. Is this one on spawning tool as well?
Frick. I mean, I think it is. I could link it if I need to.
Things
He has a couple
blink,
PBTs.
Colossus, charge lock.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's
Okay,
the one.
so it goes Robo, and then he makes only one observer. He does only make one observer. No, he makes a second observer and a third observer. Yeah, okay. So he makes three
He
observers
does.
out of the Robo. So that's like a big detail that you missed. Um, makes does make the double assimilator before the third Nexus, but you still made the double assimilator too early compared to when he did it
Okay.
in the build orders. He has it at like 350. So if we go to 350, did you already have those gas geysers? No, you didn't. Okay, so you did make them when you said to do it, but
Yeah, I'll just take him after the third because I always have too much gas. And it's definitely true.
robotic space starting on time? If not,
No, it does go a little late. It's supposed to be
uh,
like 420 or something. I don't know.
it says 4:30.
4:30. Okay.
That so your blink started quite late this game because he has it written down that
Okay.
at 30 blink starts.
Oh snap! Yeah.
Looks like you were like 10 or 15. Yeah, your Twilight doesn't finish. That's a little detail to
Okay.
worry about. That's a little detail to worry about that let you die versus all of those like one base or like
Yeah.
even just like a normal siege tank build. Like, see, he's going for a siege tank right now, or he should be going for a siege tank, but he makes a cyclone.
Instead, Cyclone. Yeah.
The only time when a Terran player should make a cyclone is when they scout a Stargate. So if you play against a Terran player that makes a cyclone, you should have like absolutely no fear of the player because he's terrified. That's what making a
Yeah.
cyclone first and for Terran. Um. So right now, your robotic space, your Colossus Den could start, right. So that would help you a lot. I
Yeah.
don't know about these gas geysers. Like, maybe watch his video and maybe he explains why he makes.
Yeah, I could probably rewatch. I'll probably just do a different build order. Because I've done like Parting Blink Stalker build order before and I liked it, and I've also done Hearthstone's just Robo Bay build, and I like that one too. So I'll probably do one of those.
Yeah, because this is
Just,
like
just pick one.
a very safe middle of the road type of build.
Yeah,
That's like trying to be
yeah.
greedy but isn't greedy, so you're not getting any of the benefits of, but you're getting all the weaknesses of, if that makes sense, right? Because
Yeah,
your
it
army
does.
is like very brittle at the timing when normal siege tank pushes happen, right? Like, imagine if this cyclone and this Hellion were two siege tanks, because he could be here with two siege right now,
Oh
and
yeah.
you would be in so much trouble. And he could have 10 more Marines if he had made a reactor on his barracks after the first Marine instead of being a potato, right? You would have
It's
been in a
true.
lot of trouble if that had happened. But you're lucky he's potato, and that's like, you should be thankful for that, right? Also, you knew about the Liberator, so just have like the awareness that like when your
Yeah.
first gateways finish, your first warpin of units should be hanging out in your main base, right? You should warp in your first 3 stalkers.
Okay.
They should hang out in your main base on a separate hotkey. Like, you have space for 2 hotkeys.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you're doing the 4-gate blink build that Parting does versus Terran, that he made like really popular like a couple months ago,
Yeah.
you have 13 stalkers, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I did know how to do that build. I
That
have
build
done that build
is
before.
really strong, and if you get good at
It's so
that
good.
build, it will definitively carry you out of the low MMR area.
I'll
And
probably
you
try
don't.
to do both, just to keep my play.
I would definitely say focus on one at a time. Like
Okay, yeah, you're right.
if
You're
you're
totally right.
below like mid grandmaster level, and even like up to the highest level of grandmaster, I think that like be focused on one build order per matchup, and then when you're incredibly confident in that build order, then you can like be like, okay, I'm gonna try and play a different style for like a week, and then when I'm confident with that one, I'll go back to the other one, or I'll rotate into a style.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, see, you let this liberator be like,
It's true. It's like an extra kill or whatever.
okay,
Oh,
let's
it doesn't.
let's move to the PvP, and I can give you.
Yeah. Let me find this PvP. PvP probably it looks like my worst, even though I don't know. I quit a lot of PvPs. I
What's
just
your PvP
freaking
win
hate
rate
it.
right now? 40%.
Oh, it's like 10 to 16,
Oh no.
which is weird because I actually win a lot of macro PvPs
It's like
and
your
when they cheat.
least played matchup. You have most played against opposite.
It's yeah, and most of the Terrans are bad.
I
It's
guess I do
weird.
have way.
Okay, let's do. Yeah, let's just do. I'll make sure this one. This one's a loss. This is a PvP macro loss.
So my first suggestion to you, did you see that I suggested Liquid Managed YouTube channel?
I have already subscribed, and I've been
Okay,
looking at that a
cool.
little bit.
Got that
So I'll
Sentry
definitely.
Stalker guide for PvP. Really great. It doesn't just
Okay.
apply to Sentry Stalker opener. Almost all of the information that he about PvP a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be helpful. I do open Sentry Stalker first in this game. I should.
Yes, Grim, I'm rimming your world. It is I. Pylon. Pylon's scouting us. It's annoying. He's a barcode. I think that it's okay to pylon out in PvP,
Oh, thank goodness. That's
especially
what I
if
used to
it's
do.
a barcode. I think it's just okay. It loses you like
I face a lot of sus players. Yeah.
2 or 3 seconds time on your cybernetic. So you just
Hmm.
it is like not knowing if this is a cannon rush or not worth you losing 2 or 3 seconds on your
Oh yeah,
score.
I
Like
hate it. I
because he can
yeah.
fake a cannon, right? Like he can make one pylon here. What are you gonna do? Not react? No, you pull 3 or 4 probes.
Goodness. Yeah.
You block the low ground. You block the high ground on both sides. You're losing a lot of mineral income while he's just he pylon blocks
Yeah.
you. This is like so.
It's so early. Yeah.
Got a second geyser. I think that this chrono boost that you're holding on to, don't plan to double chrono your gateways or to chrono boost warp gate. This second chrono boost should get used.
Yeah. I used it late. Yeah.
Um,
PvP is another one of those matchups where I've changed builds so many times. It's not good.
your second pylon is like 10.
It's true. It's late. Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So if we look at the timing of his pylon is so
Okay.
if he was smart, he would think that you were proxying your second pylon was.
Okay.
Blocks again. What is
Yeah, I don't understand.
go Sentry Stalker? Our warp gate is a little late because you did it. You
It's
did.
gas.
There's a trick with your gas saturation, right? When your first gas geyser finishes, pull one probe off of the mining mills at 50. So one probe would go into the geyser right now, and then rally into the
Oh, so I pull an extra probe into the gas just like in PVZ?
yeah, just like in PvP. Go
Okay.
at 50.
All right. Yeah.
That'll solve the like gas tunnel that. Because if
Okay.
we look at his gas income, it's like that little tiny bit. Oh, he did like the same thing. Okay, so yeah, you want that little bit of gas in. Now you start your warp. Started wet.
Yeah, absolutely.
doesn't seem like a big deal. But if he's fucking base all-in,
Oh goodness, yeah.
going double stalker, I think that's fine. Did you get to scout with a probe?
I think I did.
You get to see
Usually
what
do.
his starting gateway units were.
I did. I think I just sacked the probe for it.
That can be fine, but I think it's better to do build a pylon on the top of their ramp or build a pylon at the bottom.
225? What is it?
Just think about it in comparison to your own gateway. Your gateway units are about to finish, then you go up here and build that pylon.
Okay, yeah.
Don't think about it like don't make it complicated. Thinking about a timing, you're making it complicated.
You're right.
Like, okay, my gateway unit started on time. His gateway unit started on time. They're gonna finish around the same time as mine. Build a pylon like 5 or 6 seconds before my gateway. You see that it's the stalkers, right? That's fine. Blocks you.
With the cyber.
Be killing the pylon and not the cyber first.
Okay.
Make our nexus like 10 seconds late. Good thing made the battery in the natural, but when that probe makes that battery, it should go back to your anti-adept. It should be hotkeyed.
Keep it there. I see. Okay.
There the entire game, because 2 random adepts could show up at any time, right? Like he could finish warp gate, warp into adepts, and you never know. You never know.
Oh yeah.
We make our Twilight Council first. Like the Twilight Council first is the really normal thing to do. But I would advocate for you to wait on building your tech building until you see exactly what he's. Because you could see the robo and you could be like, uh-oh, that's a robo. I'm going to make a 3rd gateway in my Twilight. And if like, because his robo is like pretty early at this point. He made his robo before he scouted you. And I think that going Twilight versus robo is fine as a response. Anyone else get Hup's audio cutting out every few seconds? It's because I keep moving away from my microphone. I'm sorry. Turn up the gain just a little bit. Okay, so we've got our Twilight Council, but we don't have tech building. We don't have a tech started. You started the robo. Dead. Okay, so this is you trying to respond to his robo with your own robo. You should respond to his robo with whatever tech you already made. So if you'd made a Stargate and you scouted that he had a robo, you could be like, all right, well, I'm going to make a fucking Void Ray. And if you're like, okay, well, I scouted his robo, but I already have my Twilight Council, I got to just commit. I'm going Blink Sentry. Because Sentries counter robo builds. Like any Immortal push, you counter it with Force Fields.
Okay. Yeah, my PvP Force Field game is way weaker than my PvZ Force Field game. It already is, so yeah.
That is very understandable. Okay, so did we scout his 3rd base? Okay, we did scout his 3rd base. So our 3rd base is starting a little bit later than his. I'm going to tell you that your probe saturation is a lot less than it should be. Okay, we're at 5 minutes. Your natural should be fully saturated, and you're doing the same thing where these gas geysers are just like too early, right? They're before your 3rd base again, and almost nobody in the game that's like at the GM level right now and the Masters 1 level, almost nobody is making their gas geysers before their 3rd base. They're all doing the monkey strategy style where they make their 3rd base hella fast, and then they make charge and they make 8 gateways, and then they smash into you with fucking 100 supply of Zealot Stalker. That's like pretty much how everyone is playing right now. I don't like it, but I'm not going to tell you not to do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check my gases later, though.
If we look, right, like his his progression of tech was smoother than yours, right? Like he didn't try to counter your tech with his tech. He was like, okay, I'm going to go robo first, and then when my scout gets there, we're going to find out what he's doing. Okay, he's gone Twilight. I'm going to make Immortals, and I'm going to make my Twilight in my Forge, and I'm going to make my 3rd base. And then the thing is like he can be safe doing all of that and taking the 3rd base before extra gateways because hallucinate scouting is so powerful right now. So like if you wanted to punish him for what he's done here, you could like proxy 6 gateways over in a corner of the map without a third base, and like if people don't see your gateways, most of the time they don't react. That is just kind of how people operate in StarCraft 2 right now, because everyone
Yeah.
has regressed. Everyone has stopped thinking. They only
Then there's nothing creative, yeah.
there's
Except for like partying, I guess.
yeah, well, it's not even about being creative. It's about actively thinking during a match instead of just monkey mode and like
Autopilot.
autopiloting and doing whatever you feel like. Because you could be attacking him with like 20 stalkers right now.
Okay.
Like right now, you could be on top of his army with like 20 stalkers, and he just dies. And
I'd rather play it that way because I hate PvP.
yeah, you could like two base all in every single time in PvP. Just proxy your gateways in a random spot, not in your base, and they'll just people won't react unless they see it, and that will work for a really long time. That will work for a really long time. Parting's builds where he does like the 3-gate, those are really strong too. So if you want to learn like really quick kill maneuvers in PvP, you definitely want to watch Parting, because he has like really great like quick kill maneuvers. Do we have all our gateways yet? No. Okay, so
No, I do not.
Both of you were really greedy about your gateways, right? It's like as soon as your third base is started, all of the money that you get until you have 8 gateways should be spent on your gateways, because if your opponent is making all of their gateways before their third base or right as they make their third base, you need to be doing the same thing. It's okay to like not make probes while you make all your gateways, but you got to get it done, you know, because it's like 7 minutes into the game and you have 22 army supply, and any sort of attack could.
It's true. It's definitely true.
It's harder in PvP to give you like direct build order advice, because it is like more fluid, and it's more like you have to like react to what your opponent is doing, because you have the power of the force, the hallucinate scout, right? Like after you're done identifying that he has a third base, your next couple of hallucinate scouts should like hallucinate, and then you should search all of the proxy locations around your base for random pylons.
Like them proxying all the gates.
Them proxying like anything. That's what hallucinate for. And it's something that a lot of people ignore. They send like the first and the second hallucinate scout really well. It's like, okay, I identified your first tech building. And then the second hallucinate scout, okay, I identified that you have a third base. Then the third hallucinate scout, okay, I identified that all of your gateways are down and you're making a Templar archives and not disruptors, basically. That's what like your first, second, and third hallucinate scouts are for. First one, identify their first tech building, because everyone's going to take their natural expansion. It just how the games works now, because the shield battery is overpowered. And your second hallucinate scout, identify if they're making more gateways or if they're making a third base. And then your third hallucinate scout, identify if they're going Templar archives or if they're going disruptors. And that's what you do with the first 3. And then after that, every hallucinate scout you use should just be to like look for proxy pylons, and to look for like a warp prism outside of your natural or your main base.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any activity to do with your army right now, right? And there's not really a lot going on in the game, which is fine. And here you take the shitty base on this map again. Just avoid it, you know. I'm just
gonna veto this map now, I guess.
That you can do that too. I don't veto any maps. I try to like find a creative solution problem, but like this forward base, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking this forward base. You clear these minerals. You clear these minerals out as soon as your third base is like finished, and then you just have the opportunity.
Okay.
What are we looking for, right? So our hallucinate energy is building up, like I said, and it's because you don't know what to do with it, right? So I tried to give you an idea of what to do with the hallucinate energy after you use the first 2 or 3. Got double robo, and he's going disruptors now. Okay, so this is like, need to identify this. So like continual hallucination scouts are really important. It's gonna be like hot with your pants down.
Yeah, this game, I believe it gets messy pretty soon here in the middle of the map.
If we look, you only have 4 gateways. Oh, okay. So it's like 8 minutes worth your So like I would say because your fourth base is finished and you're mining from it, you should get to like 12 gateways.
Okay.
Be like 12.
gateways.
Our
Yeah, I
upgrades
just need to watch
stalled
mana.
out. Our upgrades stalled out really bad. That's like
Poop, yeah.
really that's like the most important thing to worry about in this matchup is getting +2 attack at or before your opponent. Because it's
Okay.
+2 attack is the biggest power spike in PvP. There's no other power spike in PvP that is more powerful than +2 attack. Like it makes Archons kill Zealots 1 shot faster. It makes Immortals kill Stalkers 1 shot faster. It makes Stalkers kill everything 1 shot faster. Going.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Sometimes some games I literally just forget my forge for like a minute, so that's a really terrible thing that I do.
Hotkey it onto your Nexus hotkey.
I saw that you did that, and I thought that was clever. I should probably do that.
It's not even like, oh, I'll remember the forge more. It's like, oh, I'll click on my Nexus and like look to see if I'm building probes and give yourself the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This fight. Oh my goodness.
like, why did he? Oh, you walked over an observer. Okay, so this is like a big problem, right? Because like you don't have a passive passive detection unit. You have more Archons than him and more Immortals, but he's got these 3 Disruptors, and you're trying to fight into the smallest choke point on the map.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, yeah. So that's a big sad. But if you think
Yeah.
about it, if you had 10 Zealots counterattacking this location because you have 12 gateways,
Yeah.
be in a great spot right now because you've got all of his attention here. And when Protoss players played Disruptor builds, their entire army is all in one spot, and it has to be because Disruptors are so brittle that if they don't have their entire army with the Disruptors, they will lose the army fight ever.
Okay.
So when you play versus Protoss players who go Disruptors like this, you can identify it much earlier by using the Hallucinate Scouts better and more often. You did use the first 2 Hallucinate Scouts really well, which is good, but then you just got to remember to keep doing it. Like that's the only thing that your Sentry energy is useful for as the game gets later and later. And then yeah, you're just trying to like headbutt. You're trying to headbutt, and like Disruptors are the anti-headbutt button. Disruptors. Yeah, not good.
And then I just lose. Yeah, I just quit the game.
Yeah, so you were still fine, to be honest. You're still fine, and like the thing is, you're fighting before +2 attack. He has +2 attack and +1 armor, and you trade halfway efficiently, right? Like you've lost way more resources than he is, and that's fine because he has Disruptors. But even the fact that you traded halfway efficiently in such a terrible position should let you know that like everything about what you did was fine. It's just that you fought in a bad spot. Okay, yeah, so that's over with. But if we go back, like, do the little trick with your probes, with your gas here in the beginning, where like as soon as this first geyser finishes, a probe should get rallied into there, and 1 probe from your until you are full on your gas geysers. And then we make our second pylon late, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a really big deal. The reason that it was okay is because your cybernetics core was 5 seconds. Right? So if your cybernetics core was more on time, you would start your gateway units on time. But if your pylon is late, your gateway start on time. Your probe, I think that when did you? I think that you should send your probe to scout when you build the first gateway or when you build the second gateway.
I did send my probe on the second gateway.
I think that either of those scout timings are acceptable, but then you should just be up in his base, and what you want to look for is how much chrono boost he has, right? Like this guy has 3 chrono boosts right now. You should be ultra worried that he's gonna do a gateway all something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's for a reason. He's like I am a Brood War Protoss. I refuse to use chrono boost. That's pretty weird. But you're doing the same thing though, and if you had all of your chrono boosts used on probes right now, can you imagine how many more probes you would have?
I'd be so far ahead.
Yeah, you would probably be at like 30 probes right now. All your chrono. And then like I like to when I play Sentry Stalker opener, almost always I was use 1 chrono boost on the warp gate, and then it's like you only get the first 4 units out of the gateways, and then warp gate finishes.
Okay.
So that's why I will almost always use 1 chrono boost on the cybernetics core. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely suggest that you go watch Mana's video on the Sentry Stalker opener, because he will explain it so much better than I ever could. Because this is my worst matchup as well. Like I can give you advice and tell you like little mistakes and stuff, but he's gonna give you like an overarching idea of everything that you possibly out and what you should
Yeah.
for. Like all the advice I gave you with the Sentry, the hallucinate scouts, that comes straight from him.
Sweet.
So
Yeah,
that will definitely help you out about that a little bit. And then when you play like this, your first warping, right? These guys be in your main base. This pylon
for the Oracle.
For the Oracle, yeah. Even if you have a shield battery, those 2 stalkers should be, because like you want them there because he can come in with the Oracle, see that you have a shield battery, and put a stasis ward. You don't have the stalkers there, you don't deny the stasis ward. You have the 2 stalkers there, you deny.
Yeah.
And then I've been killing myself over this pylon you have in your main base. It's not close enough to the nexus. It should be touching the nexus or within range of the nexus powered. You get a fast warp in. Because if you made these 2 stalkers in the main and it was a slow warp in, the Oracle flies in right as you warp them in. Slow warp in. Stalkers.
Okay. So, all right. The pylon closer to the nexus then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right. So the other thing I want to say, this is the last thing I'm going to say though. You tried to counter his tech with a tech decision. Counter his tech with the tech that you already have.
I see.
Just be committed to what you've already built. Don't think about
Blink first.
Don't think about like countering his counter, because he already rock paper scissors you, technically speaking, right? Because Robo and Immortals rock paper scissors blink. But if you think about it, how is he going to do anything with it? Only Robo builds that actually can kill a Twilight first player are Robo before expand builds. So you should have gotten there and seen that his Robo wasn't finished, and you should have felt absolutely zero worry in your. You should have been like, okay, I can get blink. I'm perfectly safe. Like, if you get there with your hallucinate scout and he has an immortal already, then you got to be worried. Make 2 or 3 extra shield batteries in your natural and like make an extra gateway.
Yeah.
But if you get there and the tech building is like just finishing or not finished yet, you don't have to worry about anything. There's nothing they could possibly do. And then just okay, I'm gonna go, and this is my last note for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. When your Nexus finishes here in the natural, right? I'm gonna like go to like right when it finishes. You should have like 8 probes in the natural. You should have like 8 to 10 probes ready to be put into the natural when the natural finishes. And you shouldn't have these probes running back and forth like this. They should just all be mining in the mine or mining in the main until the natural finishes, and then you transfer them to the natural, because you're gonna get way more money out of that.
That makes sense. And it's gonna be 24 mining.
Yeah, even if it's like way oversaturated on the main, it's more efficient than them walking back and forth between the main and the natural. Right. And then always have that probe on your natural. Remember, when you make that shield battery in the natural, or when you make your Nexus, the Adept probe needs to be there. You're gonna regret it.
It's very important.
You're gonna hate life every time that happens. I have the worst time ever versus the Adepts.
Oh, I hate it so much.
I hate them. They're the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I hope that helped you. If you ever have questions, you can always hit me up, put replays in the Discord and stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was very, very, very helpful.
Have a great day, dude.
All right, yeah, you too.
Okay, I hope that was helpful to people in the chat as well. If you guys have questions, let me know. I need some water.